Now, First Alert 6 weather.
Good morning. Jaret Lansford here to guide you through the commute and some of the issues that we are seeing pop up in the early going. And that does include a crash on I-80. So let's go ahead and show you what we've got going on with this one. And it's right in this area just to the east of the 680 interchange. So zoom in a little bit here. You can see those slowdowns that go from roughly 84th back to about the 680 interchange. This is the area we're talking about with this crash that's in place. So I'll give you that view here on the NDOT camera in just a moment. But there's where we have our delays, and when you're looking at the estimated speeds in this area, let me drag that back. Okay, so you're looking at your speeds in this area. You're looking at those kind of sitting right around 40 miles per hour or so. So a little ways below where you should be. Let me show you what that looks like on the Nebraska DOT camera. And there it is. You can see it right there in the middle. This is just a little to the east of the 680 interchange that you are looking at. How we have this being in place there in that stretch. You're looking at the area of I-80 eastbound right around 108th, just a little to the east of the 680 interchange where you have a vehicle that looks like it was involved in a crash, and you are seeing some delays as a result of this. What else you need to watch for? Let's pull you out to the full view of the metro. And you can see we have several areas that are quite a bit slow, and that does include as you're making your way on Dodge from about 156th back to almost 180th, and you're looking at some pretty slow travel in this stretch. It typically does get sluggish at this point in the morning, but this is maybe even a little more than usual. So you're pretty normal speeds right around 180th right now, but as you get near 168th, you're coming to a crawl in that area with speeds that are roughly about 20 miles per hour. Pick up slightly as you start getting closer to 156, but you're still looking at things quite a bit slower than they should be. So be ready for that if you use that stretch. You've got several delays showing up on center, including as you're going eastbound near 156th. And then the JFK also with some delays as you're making your way northbound toward I-80 all the way back down past Harrison, and you're getting close to Childs. So several spots that are slow. Our only real crash that we have in place, reported-wise, is this one on I-80. And it is roughly in this area or so that you're looking at this one. So that's eastbound with that crash. Get the graphic built for you here. So most of the morning we've had some pretty smooth travel, but this is one of our first issues that we've been seeing. There's our impacted area. That's the wrong graphic. There's our impacted area. So that's where we're looking at our delays. Let's check the camera here. Looks like we, sounds like we have some developments with this. So here is the NDOT camera in this area. And you notice that car that had been in the middle there now removed. So good news with that. So some improvements that are in place now in that stretch. That is I-80 as you get just past 680. So we'll watch and see if those delays that had been in place start to improve. Something else I do want to talk about here this morning that could potentially cause some small problems. Once my graphics load here, we'll show you that. Here we go. So we've zoomed out here, and you're not seeing much. I've actually put the radar over the top of the traffic maps. If you look really closely here, between Fremont, Elkhorn, as you're getting around the valley area, there's just a couple of these little specks that are showing up. I really don't expect this to be a big deal. If you're having trouble seeing them, that's what you're seeing right in these this area. A little bit of some radar noise, but some of that is also a few flakes, maybe some very light freezing drizzle. I don't expect it to cause any kind of widespread issues, but not going to be a bad idea to maybe watch for a slick spot or two if you're in that part of the area if you're going to be driving. So we'll keep an eye on that. That's something else that we are monitoring this morning. Continuing to see more and more roads that are getting slow. Here's what it's looking like in this part of the metro. Really struggling on eastbound Dodge approaching 90th. Let's take a look at our views in that area. You might be able to see this from our Children's Nebraska camera. You can see how many headlights are in place in that area. With coming towards you is heading eastbound. So a lot of traffic that is there at this point. So this is your view from our Children's Nebraska camera, and it's just on the very left edge of your screen where things are looking a little slow. It's more so when you get a little further out of the sight line of this camera that things do look slower. I'll double check here. We're having some issues with our 90th and Dodge camera earlier. Looks like that is still the case. So unfortunately, we won't be able to see that area, but can return you to the views of what we have going on in a couple of different areas where we've had some slowdowns. And again, we've been watching Dodge right around 144th back toward 168th with some delays. And then you get a little further to the east, we've really seen things slow down between 90th and the 680 interchange. The 680 interchange in general, those ramps also all quite slow at this point. So another thing to watch this morning with some delays. You're going to want to expect that to be a slow route. And this is also worth pointing out because people may be using Dodge that wouldn't normally. That being because we have a road closure on Blondo. That's a place at 72nd as you're heading eastbound. Westbound is open, but eastbound Blondo closed at 72nd due to water main break repairs. That is scheduled to be the case through the middle of next week. So you can't use that. You already had a closure on Military to the east of 72nd that's been in place and will be in place for a couple more months. So that does kind of limit your options for eastbound travel. We zoom out and you can see that you kind of had two good alternate routes. Ironically, with how the last couple of years have gone, Maple is one of your better options for eastbound travel near 72nd. It is pretty slow in that area. And then also Dodge, but you just saw as we were looking how much things flared up on Dodge. So a lot of people may be making their way in that way, and that is causing some slow travel. So good idea this morning just to leave a little extra time. We're having some issues on some of our eastbound routes as people navigate some closures and then some other issues that have popped up. Let's check back in on I-80, see what things are looking like in that area. And so there you can see on the right shoulder, you have a couple of vehicles with emergency crews on hand. So watch for that. You're probably going to notice those flashing lights as you're getting just east of the 680 interchange is where this is in place. And this is what it looks like in map form. You can see those delays as traffic is kind of merging in from the 680 interchange is where you have that crash. Again, that's on the right shoulder. All lanes are open, but you may notice the flashing lights that may startle some people as they are making their way through that stretch. Let me show you the overall map, and you do have several roads that are showing some delays. We talked about the couple of spots on Dodge, I-80 we were just talking about. Look at Center, though, really flaring up as you are getting from about the splitted industrial all the way back to 192nd with some slow travel. So we're having some east-west issues today. Thankfully, 370, once you get past I-80 at least, is looking okay at this point. A lot of different spots are struggling. I'm going to show you that I-80 area one more time real quick. We'll check and make sure that we're not missing anything else that may be happening before we wrap the stream up. Does look like we have a crash on Dodge around 216th, or Highway 6, excuse me. This is Highway 6 near 216th, so that's a little west of Nebraska Crossing with that one. So let me show you where that one is on the map. That would be right around this area, just to the west of Gretna. Right around this area. So not too far off to the west of that interchange near Nebraska Crossing and right near I-80 where that crash is in place. Something else to watch for this morning. So we've got a few issues that we've got going on this morning. You're going to want to use some caution if you're going to be heading out and about. Keep an eye on I-80, a couple spots of Dodge that are really grinding to a halt. And a lot of our east-west roads are pretty slow here in the early going. I'll be live here in just a few minutes on First Alert 6 with the latest on how the commute's going. We'll wrap up this stream for today. Thank you for joining for this. And you can always find all the latest updates as far as travel is going in the metro on our traffic blog, that on firstalert6.com. I hope you enjoy the rest of your Tuesday. Also watch for that little bit of some very light precip trying to make its way in to Douglas.